Statement of claim. A plaintiff, King Cohen, proceeding pro se, alleges the following against defendant Rory Chenoweth second parties. Cohen is a citizen of the state of California. B. Chenoweth is a citizen of the state of New Mexico and temporarily resided at 1029 Olive Ave. Ramona, CA, 92,065 during October 1st, 2021, November 30th, 2021. Third jurisdiction and venue. A. This court has jurisdiction over this matter in accordance with 28 U.S.C. SS 1332 because the parties are citizens of different states and the amount in controversy exceeds $75,000. B. Venue is proper in this district pursuant to 28 U.S.C. SS 1391 because the Chenoweth resided in this district during the time of the events and omissions giving rise to Cohen's claims. Fourth factual allegations. A Chenoweth was convicted of lewd or lascivious acts with a child under 14 years of age in 20,000, and 51 requiring him to register as a sex offender and register in each of the jurisdictions where Chenoweth regularly reside is 3. B. Chenoweth owns 1029 Olive Ave, Ramona, CA, 92,065. C. Chenoweth regularly rents out 1029 Olive Ave, Ramona, CA, 92,065, and regularly resides at 1029 Olive Ave, Ramona, CA, 92,065, in between rental contracts, despite Chenoweth's legal obligation to register as a sex offender and register in each of the jurisdictions where Chenoweth regularly resides. Chenoweth failed to register as a sex offender in California during the time of September 1st, 2020, November 30th, 2021. One background report from truthfinder.com, 2 California Penal Code SS 290. E. Cohen is a resident of 1035 Olive Ave, Ramona, CA, 92,065, which is directly next to Chenoweth's 1029 Olive Ave, Ramona, CA, 92,065. On October 22, 2020, Cohen and his family moved to 1035 Olive Ave, Ramona, CA, 92,065. However, Cohen was not aware of Chenoweth's presence in the community prior to purchasing his home. Had Cohen been aware of Chenoweth's presence in the community, in accordance with government making the information available to the public for, Cohen would have never purchased his home. Further, had Cohen been aware of Chenoweth's true identity and presence in the community during October 1st, 2021, November 30th, 2,215, Cohen would have rapidly moved to adequately protect himself, his wife, and his 6 children. 4 California Penal Code 290.46. 5 King Cohen Affidavit filed October 20th, 2022. 6 California Penal Code 290.0301. G's surrounding neighbors, including Victor Smith, King Cohen, and Heather Cohen, witnessed Rory Chenoweth living at 1029 Olive Ave, Ramona, during October 1st, 2020, on November 30th, 20,218. H. Chenoweth's failure to register as a sex offender violated not only Cohen's right to adequately protect himself and his family, but also the community's right to adequately protect themselves and their children. 9. Community members like Victor Smith, who lives in the surrounding neighborhood of 1029 Olive Ave, has grandchildren, and he too was denied the right to adequately protect himself and his grandchildren when Chenoweth failed to fulfill his obligation. I. Defendant's failure to register as a sex offender violated California Penal Code SS 290 and constitutes negligence per seton. J. As a direct and proximate result of Chenoweth's failure to register as a sex offender, Cohen suffered damages including, but not limited to, emotional distress, fear for the safety of himself and his family, and the infringement of his right to adequately protect his children. California Penal Code 290.0382. Fifth question. A. If parents do not have the sufficient and necessary information with concern to persons convicted of unlawful sexual behavior living next door to them, can parents adequately protect themselves or their children? Sixth summary of argument. A. This case turns on Cohen's fundamental right to adequately protect himself, his wife, and their children. Chenoweth has a legal obligation pursuant to California Penal Code SS 290. Chenoweth's obligation provides the public both the sufficient and necessary information to adequately protect themselves and their children. During October 1st, 2021 to November 30th, 2021, Chenoweth failed to uphold and support his legal obligation, which infringed Cohen's fundamental right to adequately protect himself, his wife, and their children. Defendant's failure to register as a sex offender put Cohen and his family in serious, unnecessary, and preventable danger. As a direct and proximate result of Chenoweth's failure to register as a sex offender, Cohen has suffered damages including, but not limited to, the infringement of the right to adequately protect himself, his wife, and their children, emotional distress, anxiety, and fear for the safety of himself and his family from an unregistered convicted pedophile. Seventh argument, count I. California Penal Code SS 290 negligence per se SS 669. A Cohen incorporates by reference all of the factual allegations set forth in paragraph 4 above. B. Chenoweth's failure to register as a sex offender was a violation of the law pursuant to California Penal Code SS 290 and constitutes negligence per se in accordance with California Code of Evidence SS 669. C. Chenoweth had a legal duty to register as a sex offender pursuant to California Penal Code SS 290. Even if Chenoweth argued defendant owed no duty to Cohen, this argument fails, because the failure of any person to perform a duty imposed on him by a statute or other legal authority is evidence of negligence as a matter of law, or negligence per set welv. Further, California Penal Code SS 290 is a safety statute which creates not just an obligation, but also a duty of care, which is designed to protect a specific class of people, namely the public and their children. 13. 12 Simers, Fürst Eisen, 54 Cal. 418, 420 to 21 Cal. 13 California Penal Code 290.0. 8. E defendant breached his duty by failing to register as a sex offender during October 1st, 2021 to November 30th, 2021. If Chenoweth argued that there was no breach of duty, this argument fails because no proof of registration pursuant to SS 290 has been submitted to the court with concern to the time in question. Moreover, surrounding neighbors have provided affidavits of eyewitness testimony, which clearly indicates Chenoweth living in California at the 1029 Olive Ave. Addressed during October 1st, November 30th, 2021. Although Chenoweth could also argue that there was no breach of duty for the reason that Chenoweth stayed in California a limited time over a few days, this argument also fails because surrounding neighbors have provided affidavits of eyewitness testimony, which clearly indicates Chenoweth living in California at 1029 Olive Ave during October 1st, November 30th, 2021, for more than 14 days. G. Chenoweth's negligence was the direct and proximate cause of Cohen's damages. The proximate cause is Chenoweth's requirement to register pursuant to SS 290 and his decision to not notify the proper authorities prior. To Chenoweth's stay in California, all but ensuring law enforcement could not notify the public that a convicted pedophile would be entering the community. The direct cause is Chenoweth's October 1st, 2021 move to 1029 Olive Ave, which is directly next door to Cohen without registering. Cohen is a father of 6 children at the time in question that lived directly next to Chenoweth during the time in question. Cohen has the right to adequately protect himself and his children by leaving the area of a convicted pedophile and thus limiting exposure to Cohen's and his family. Although Chenoweth could argue that there is no causal connection, this argument too fails, because the cause of this case starts with defendant Chenoweth's initial obligation to register as a sex offender while living in California. Next, Chenoweth's cause has the effect of obligating U.S. governments to make, publish, and declare Chenoweth's location in accordance with California Penal Code SS 290.46. Subsequently, the next effect would be the public's right to know, to adequacy protect themselves and their children, as indicated in California Penal Code 290.03A1-2. Ultimately, Cohen's right to adequately protect himself and his family was denied because Chenoweth failed to support and uphold his legal obligation. As a direct and proximate result of Chenoweth's negligence per se, Cohen has suffered damages of $10 million. J. Even if Chenoweth argued that the Cohen was not one of the class of persons for whose protection the statute was adopted, this argument fails because 290.032, which provides, it is a compelling and necessary public interest that the public have information concerning persons convicted of offenses involving unlawful sexual behavior collected pursuant to SS 290 and SS 290.4 to allow members of the public to adequately protect themselves and their children from these people. Thus, it is clear SS 290 was intended to protect a specific class of people, namely, members of the public and their children. Cohen is both a father of 6 at the time in question and a member of the public. Alternatively, Chenoweth is also from a specific class of persons, namely, these people, adults who are sexually attracted to prepubescent children, pedophiles. Cohen was denied the right to adequately protect his prepubescent children by none other than a pedophile. Convicted, 8th prayer for relief. Consequently, Cohen requests that this court enter judgment in his favor and against Chenoweth, and award him the following relief. 1. Compensatory damages in an amount of $10 million. 2. Punitive damages in an amount to be determined at trial. 3. Costs of suit. 4. An injunction to sell 1,029 Olive Ave, Ramona, CA, 92,065, to a non-family member or friend or associate. Other relief that this court deems just and 9th demand for jury trial. A plaintiff hereby demands a trial by jury on all issues triable by jury. 10th conclusion. In summary, Cohen's right to adequately protect himself, his wife, and children was denied because of Chenoweth's failure to register. For the reasons we have discussed, fairness demands and the law requires that this court enter a judgment against Chenoweth and in favor of Cohen. Dated April 28, 2023, respectfully submitted. King